This is a TalkStation original podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Paper Boys podcast. I'm JJ Smith.
And I'm Zach Nally.
We are joined today in studio by Miss Abby Jolly. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Super excited.
So Abby has just the regular combination of surfer, softball player, and race car driver.
Very traditional.
You run into that every day. So we're going to start off with the race car driving because that's the most fascinating, I think. And we're going to start off with the best part. We're not going to hold it for later. We're going to get right into it. So this spring, Abby won her first race at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway, which that alone would have been worthy of having her come in and talk to us. That's a big deal. But to add spice to that story is who Abby beat in that race. Who was second place, Miss Jolly?
My husband, Mr. Zach Reimer. He drives the 23, and that's probably the highlight. And you got to think, we just got married and had our wedding at the track. Beating him.
Add that to the story.
So what do you mean when you just got married? Like that day, or like a couple weeks, like a week before?
I don't know if we would have got married that day still. Since I beat him so bad, I don't know. But no, we got married in 2023 at the racetrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the racetrack they got married at.
Yes.
Well, this is obviously an important part of both of your life. How long have you both been driving?
So he's been doing this since he was little.
Okay.
So if anybody knows, he's a little bit older than me. So he has been doing this for a very long time. I obviously didn't start until I was 18. His dad raced, his whole family was into it, and me, I'm the opposite, right? So I've never had any background in it. So when I got into it, it was very fresh.
Yeah, when you got into it, was this something like 2 years previous to that? If somebody would have told you were going to start driving driving race cars, would you have been like, "Yeah, forget that. That sounds crazy"?
I probably would have been like, "Who's going to cut the check for that?" But
it's probably not an inexpensive hobby, is it?
No. I think a few years ago, obviously the economy was different, right?
Yeah.
So it was definitely cheaper than now to get into it. But I don't know. I think when I quit playing softball, I needed something to replace that.
We've heard that a lot.
Yeah, I needed a replacement because I'd done that my whole life.
You had been playing softball for how long?
For my whole life.
Right.
Yeah, since T-ball. So it was a super hard transition, to go from that. And obviously I at the time had no college offers or anything. So I had no direction as to what I was going to do.
Yeah. That's a recurring theme, I think, on here is talking to people once they get into adulthood of they've been playing whatever sport since they were 5. Up until 22 for college if they play in college, and then all of a sudden that just drops off a cliff. And you were looking for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the surfing, had you kept that up?
No, I was kind of done at that point.
Okay.
I'd done the competitive stuff for probably 5 or 6 years, but I just kind of got burnt out. I loved it as something to do sometimes, but I think I was not talented enough to, make myself happy with doing that.
And that's with the Central North Carolina District, the Eastern Surfing Association. And y'all, when that's going pretty steady, right? It's like every weekend kind of a thing, and you're going up and down the seaboard. Yeah,
and I think overall, that was more expensive than the racing. Just, just because you're traveling so much. And I think I wasn't really prepared to do what I needed to do to, be competitive in that. So, I don't know. I had softball, and then that was kind of my better talent, So
you started racing in 18, and so this is 25, so 7 years you've been doing it, and been racing at Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway that entire time. And tell us about the night you get that first W.
That was insane. I literally, I faintly remember, you can't really hear much in the cars, but when I was coming across the finish line, I could just faintly hear them calling my name, and I was like, it just made it so real. And I'd wanted it for so long, but I was just constantly second and third, and never quite getting there. So it was just kind of a relief.
Yeah. And did you know that the hubby was number 2?
Yeah, I knew he was back there. I think I heard, he's 3 car lengths back, and then I heard 4 and then 5. So I was pretty comfortable by the end of the race. But yeah, it was just an amazing feeling.
We have to thank Andy Marquis, who always hooks us up with the stories from the Bobby Watson's Carteret County Speedway. He's their media guy, and that's how we found out about this story. And he talked to you after the race, and you said, it's been a long time coming for sure. Sometimes you think you're never going to make it happen, and then there are days like today when you're able to pull it off. I would have to thank my husband for building me such a fast race car. So even in victory, you had to give it up to the hubby.
Yeah, I mean, he has been the whole reason I was able to move into mini stock. You know, realistically, I don't know or have the knowledge to work on the vehicles and do that. Yeah, obviously, I can be there to help and try and learn as much as I can, but he's been doing this so long. So without him, he's the one who built me the car. Yeah. So I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Well, and the connection you've got with him there is fun too, because you won your first U-Car race in 2023, and it was just days after you all got engaged.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun, like,
yeah, you got all these
sort of, they mirror each other.
milestones.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess you could say it has something to do with him. I don't know. I don't like to give him all the credit, but
For sure.
he's a big supporter, and I think that has been, you know, a big push for me, was having somebody behind me that's so confident and just like wants to see me do good.
Yeah.
Even if he's not doing good.
Andy talked to him after the race. He says, "I'm very proud. Honestly, I wasn't going to give it to her. She outdrove me. I started pushing real bad, and she just ran a phenomenal race and did a good job. I'm proud of her. I just actually got to work on my car instead of hers."
Yeah, I think this year he's really taken a break from me. So that, I mean, I will say, I'll give him that. He's very talented, and I think kind of overlooked because he's quiet, and it just has, I don't know, people don't really gravitate to him just because he's I don't know, y'all know how retired Marines can be a little stoic.
Does he fit the profile?
Yeah, he's still in that profile. So I think maybe that's why you kind of don't hear about him as much. Okay. But yeah, I'm hoping next year he'll get more into it.
Were you a good winner? Were you a sore winner? Did we rub it in a little bit?
No, I was a good winner at the time, because I think
maybe not since then.
I like that qualifier.
At the time, I was, because he was like saying super sweet things in his interview. He's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of her," and that I've always wanted to have like my significant other say that about me.
Yeah.
So it was nice to hear. But then, you know, when we got home, I'm like, "Yeah, I just want you to know." Like,
so what
your
happened
wife
on that?
loves you.
Yeah, what happened on that turn? I just don't. You were there, and then you weren't there.
Right. I was like, I heard you were coming, then all of a sudden you weren't. So.
Well, to his credit, he did well to finish second that race. I think he was like 6th when he started off, right?
Yes, he started in the back that race because, again, he was just trying to make sure that I was prepared. Okay. He's been great this year.
And did family and friends, did they give him a little grief?
Yeah, I think probably by the time we got to the tech shed, there was probably 10 people that stopped him, and they were like, "Man, you let her beat you," and they just rubbing it in.
Well, I'm sure he loved it, though. Being in support of that success.
Yeah. And Zach pointed out, a couple years ago, this is 23, you won your first career U-Car race at the Jacksonville race, the New River All-American Speedway. Tell us about that night.
Yeah, that was a crazy night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, I think. It was like an insanely late night because there were so many cautions in all the other races. And so we had run a doubleheader that night. And we got to run that. And there was a late caution that come out, and so the first 2 cars ended up wrecking. I was in 3rd. So I was just in the perfect spot at the right time. That one, to me, did not feel as validated as the one at Carteret because there was, like, you know, a late caution. And it was kind of one of those situations, like, yes, a win is a win. It's so hard to get them.
Right.
So I took it. But the one at Carteret just felt like everything was well-deserved and put together.
Felt like that was more earned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, how long had you been in the U-Car at that point?
Probably, so I started, 2018
okay, so
and
that's the whole
23.
time. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That was my last season in U-Car.
So what made you make the switch?
Just really, honestly, I kind of felt like I was at that level. Even though I hadn't won a lot, I was constantly podium, finishes every time. So I just kind of felt like it was the right time. Me and Zach were living in Georgia, and we had built the mini stock from scratch. So it was just the perfect timing to move into it.
Educate us a little bit about all the different divisions they have, and we're talking U-Car and mini stock. Help people understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, so U-Car is like I would say your medium beginner class. So it is not necessarily the first class you could get into or the cheapest or the easiest, but it's the first one where you really learn how you can start adjusting your car to make it faster, things you can do, tires, like all these different things. They have, for younger kids, they've got mini cups, which are like go-karts. And then we've got Legends, late models, Chargers, street stocks, which is kind of more of your, I don't want to use the word expensive, but it is. Probably your more elite classes, right? Like somebody who's more experienced would move into those. Mini stock is, I would say, up there as well. you have a lot of really talented men who have done this for such a long time. You know, you got AJ Sanders, Travis Miller, my husband Zach, he's been doing it, and they have so many wins and championships that, you know, I don't know, I just knew that I wanted to race alongside the best. And financially, that's the class that I'm going to run for the rest of, you know, my career.
Okay.
Well, I remember we've done, you know, stories on, say, someone like Carson Gillikin, Carson Gray, who's done some stuff with UCAR, I think, and then some legend stuff with her and her cousins. How common is it to see women in the mini stock division?
So I'm the only one.
Okay, so that's a lot less common.
For a lot of try. I think Sydney Sanders runs at Bowman Gray. I know she's the only female out there. I'm the only female at Carteret, you know, Jacksonville, these other places. So I knew I wanted to come in and represent well. I didn't want to show up and get last and, you know, to kind of be that. I knew I had to do well because there's a lot of eyes on me just because, you know, you're a female. So, I don't know, I just wanted to do good and race against the best. And those guys have been so welcoming and encouraging. This has been a really good last 2 years.
Okay. ahead.
I was gonna say, is there some sort of, you know, a feeling of validation getting that win in 2 years in?
Yeah,
no
for
doubt.
sure. Because I was like, I really didn't expect to have one in mini stock for a while, just because of how good the guys are.
Like you said, podium, you know, doing well, but
Yes.
it's another to get that win.
Yeah, and honestly, I want for this season. We only have two at most races left, so I want to have one more. That's my goal. It's going to be a very hard goal because we got a lot of out of town guys coming. They're very talented, so it's not going to be easy. But that's my next goal.
So would you say mini stock's kind of in the middle?
Yes, I would say. Really, the biggest part of it is I don't know. It's a class that's been around for a very long time. So you have guys who've done nothing but mini stock, which is kind of where I'm, going to shadow that and be that.
If somebody wanted to start getting into this, what's it going to cost you a year to do this kind of stuff?
Is it expensive?
Too much. Too much.
Gotcha.
But I've been very blessed over the years with so many sponsors.
Nice.
I've got Brigadoon Animal Hospital. They're out of Cedar Point. Miss Lisa Morton. She's always taking care of me really good. I've got BMK Ventures. They're based out of Virginia. Mr. Buck Buchanan got me hooked up with them. I've got D&M Lawn Care, who's a local at the racetrack. I met him. He's fantastic. And I've got Sound Ace General Store on Emerald Isle. So I've been very fortunate to have a very good support system.
Nice. I love and Andy was doing the media director stuff for New River when you won that night. I love this quote he got from you. Abby said, "It's always a plus to be able to race with the man I love." Aww.
What a thing to do something you love, but do it with the one you love.
Sure. Even when we are disagreeing with car setups, we should talk about that a little bit. I'm still grateful to have race weekends with him, but the trophy is going to be sitting between us on the dinner table until he gets another win or I do. I like that.
But I thought I ate with that comment. But,
Oh, you definitely do.
but then the very next race, he won.
Oh.
So it was very
Didn't last
short-lived.
long.
You got humbled quick, didn't you?
Yeah. He had to go out and remind me real quick.
Playing for one game. That's
They'll get too big for your britches, huh? Yeah. And also, and Andy says, with her first win in her rearview mirror, that was your first, is hoping for more. And Abby said, "I feel like it's the first of many. I think that because this win came as a result of a caution, I need to push harder. I'm not 100% satisfied, and I feel the need to win the next win undisputed. But regardless, I'm proud to have finally parked the number 11 in victory lane." And it wasn't too much longer before you got that next win. That's a couple years.
Yeah. And we weren't really running full seasons and anything like that. We were just trying to focus on getting that mini stock ready and out of the garage.
How long does that take that kind of preparation?
It took us to build it.
Yeah.
We bought it as a used dirt car, and we refurbished the entire thing. It took us 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And granted, we did take our time. You
Sure.
can do them much quicker, but we wanted to make sure we had it right. And, we built it pretty well, so.
That's great.
How many weekends a year are you and your husband racing?
So this year we had 16 races.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So it's been a long road to this championship, and it's just been, I don't know, it's been insane. Sometimes it can get a little much. I've never ran for points before, honestly. I've always just kind of gone out there and had fun and did whatever. But when you run for a championship, you have to be there every single weekend to be in contention. So that's what we've done, and it's been stressful. We've been through 2 motors, and it's just been a lot this year. But a lot of good things have come out of it.
You won the mid-season championship this year, is that right?
Yep.
That's your first championship of any kind in racing?
Any kind, yeah. So that's my first one. I've gotten second and third and, a couple of other awards and things, but this was the year I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. And it seems to hopefully be working out. We're still in the lead. I've got some really stout competition, so hoping we can just, kind of ride out these last couple races.
So you almost got another W. What was this? This July, you were racing up front with Travis Miller. Mm-hmm. And he held you off. I like the quote he gave about you. He said she's got that thing moving on the start and jumped out front. I thought for a minute there I wasn't going to have a chance at her, but I guess my rest that I got early in the day and my experience was what won that race. She is definitely impressive in her never give up spirit here. Even at the end, she was drawn up on me when this old man was giving up, but this is a special win.
What's going on with these quotes out of the track? Do y'all think about what you're going to say?
I know these are really good quotes.
These are great quotes. I mean, these are off the. I mean, I know usually they park the car right there and they've got the thing in your face, and I mean, y'all are good. Y'all are
good stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's off the cuff. Everything we say, which I mean, sometimes we say some wild stuff. Okay, like they don't put everything in the paper. Right? But Travis Miller has been doing this for such a long time. You want to talk about the best of the best? He has had. I mean, we literally joke that this is his, 100th farewell tour and that he's going to be done racing, done going for championships. But he's just so talented, kind of overlooked. People don't really think about him for some reason, which is crazy to me. He's very talented. So I don't know. I can't say enough about him, and I've learned a lot from him. So I don't mind losing to him at all, which I hate losing, but to somebody like that, I really can't complain.
You mentioned you've had a lot of seconds, a lot of thirds. Did you take to it pretty quickly, or did it take a while to get up to those second and thirds?
I would say probably after the first 2 years in UCAR, it kind of started constantly second and third, or fourth. But I was always
in the mix there.
Yes,
yeah.
Always, which got kind of frustrating for me, especially the year before last. I was kind of over that. You kind of get to a breaking point. You're like, oh my God, how am I going to keep looking at my sponsors and being like, oh, no wins, but we got plenty of second and thirds.
Sure. No, I get it. This guy's a Dallas Cowboys fan, so he gets it too.
Right.
Wow.
That's tough.
Jeez.
Lots of 12-win seasons, but just nothing past that. No, well, you talked about at the beginning, softball, racing, surfing. These are 3 really different sports. Can we talk about surfing for a second?
Yeah.
How long were you what did you grow up near the beach, or did you grow up surfing? What's the deal?
No, so I grew up in, Pelletier, on Highway 58, so about 15 minutes, from the beach. My older brother Lucas was the talented one. Always in magazines and had sponsors, and to this day he still travels and he's very very good at it. So when he started doing it, my dad, he also surfed as well. And he was pretty good, So it was kind of like that. I got into it. I was never as dedicated to it, or, I didn't really fall in love with it the way, they did. So
you did it to hang out with the family.
Yeah, right, right.
And softball, was that your number one love?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I think I had my struggles with it. I was kind of what you would consider a troubled teen, right? So I was always in trouble, always, struggling in school.
As reporters, we never caught that.
So I was like that kid. So I think, I've always struggled with maintaining something that I could just kind of do forever. And that's why I like the racing so much, is just because, I don't know, I've never had a doubt that I love it.
Has this equaled your love for softball?
Yeah, I think I love the racing more because it's not so... I think softball, I always struggled because, I played for Croatan, which at the time they had a 4-year losing streak. So
it's tough times.
The worst team in the conference, and that's tough.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's hard, even though you're doing something you love. I'm sure it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, me and Mallory Carpenter, she was really talented. She went off to play Fayetteville State.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tough for me and her to, I don't know. It was just a really tough couple of years. I struggled in high school.
Did you play travel ball or
Yes.
anything? Okay.
Yes. So I did all of that. I I'm not even gonna lie, I graduated high school with like a 2.3 GPA.
Okay.
So I had no offers, no eligibility to go play, at
Sure.
the next level, really. So a year after high school, I'm sitting around and I'm doing the racing, but I'm like, I'm living in a camper at the racetrack. I'm like, what am I going to do with my life?
No doubt.
So luckily I was able to go. I got picked up at a showcase tournament randomly, and I went to play junior college softball at Fayetteville Tech. So my life kind of just changed completely at that point.
Wow. So did you stay here in town when you were attending? Oh, obviously you went down there to live in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I went to live in Fayetteville and FAFSA. Thank God for that,
No
right?
doubt.
So I took out
Pell
all the
Grants,
student
what's up?
loans, all the Pell Grants,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
living large.
What was it like playing the Broncos, right?
No, so I went to play for Fayetteville Tech.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
Fayetteville
across
State.
the road.
Okay, yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
and it's a 2-year university down there, and so they were Trojans, and
Okay.
I was really proud to be a part of that.
I feel like we send a lot of Carteret County kids there.
Yes.
Well, there was like a group of softball players in particular because it was like the first or second year of the
Yes.
program.
Oh, that's right. It's
Yes.
fairly new, right?
Yeah.
It was a second-year program. I had obviously taken a gap year because I didn't get recruited from
Sure,
anyone.
sure.
So nobody was, nobody's going to the GPA
You were such
like
a good
that.
pitcher
Yeah.
too. You were very consistent, and you knew it was going to be a low scoring game. And like you said, Mallory out there at short, there wasn't a whole lot happening there.
No,
for
so
sure.
I think that was tough. And then they were like, I think I had interest, but then they're like, GPA, nah, no.
yeah, wow.
So, and again, I was troubled, so I didn't have the best attitude.
What made you approach that college experience different than you did high school?
Because I had the support system there. I had the coaches that were like, what is wrong? They would look at me and be like, what is the problem? Is there a problem at home? Is there a problem, like, with yourself? Like, what is it that you're acting out or not? I was very quiet going in my first year, and he was like, well, I've seen you play, and you don't strike me as being a quiet player, so why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And, I had Coach Hu, and then obviously my assistant coach, Keith Edgerton, who's now at Wake Tech. So they were probably the biggest influence on me. And just, like, pushing those leadership qualities and being like, you need to be the player you are and be the person you are. And I'd never been told that was okay. So I think that made all the difference.
And of course, you're kind of on your own out there. There's more at stake. There's more on the line. You're kind of standing on your own 2 feet. And when you graduated, what did you know that you were gonna? Because you took a break from racing, I guess.
Yeah, because I was very committed to playing college ball there.
Did you know when you got out that you wanted to get back into that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also knew I have to be successful in order to do that.
Sure.
It's like my dad, I'm so thankful for him, but I didn't want to continue to burden him with, the cost of it. Realistically, like, yeah, we have wonderful sponsors and things like that, but I didn't want to put that on him anymore. It was time for me to kind of take over and step up, and then obviously Zach could come into the picture. Me and him were working things out. So it just all came together, really.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's great y'all can share this thing. I mean, that's in some relationships that can be a point of contention. The guy who's golfing every weekend, or whatever. But you all share this thing. You all get to be able to spend a lot of time with each other.
Yes, sometimes it can be hard.
Maybe it's too much time sometimes.
Yes, me and Zach mirror each other. Like, what people don't know is I am very, I can be temperamental and feisty and all these things. He is that times 2.
Okay.
So it's like, it's very much, I can lean on him for all the support and everything I need, but then he's also there to be like, okay, like, you need to be put in your place now. Like, you're doing too much. So we have a very, a lucky thing. Most people don't get that in this lifetime. So I'm just very fortunate to have him.
Well, that one quote you said, you might argue about the setups of the car. What kind of discussions are we having about the setups of the car?
So he loves a loose setup. He wants that thing to just whip around the corner and just snap, and I can't. I cannot stand that. I'm like, I want a neutral. Yeah, I want it to be neutral and just gently rotate when I come off the corner.
Okay.
I don't want to put, but we argue about this all the time. But to be fast, you have to have a looser setup.
Okay.
Realistically. Okay? Like,
Okay.
to get into those nitty-gritty numbers, yeah.
Yeah. So he's right.
Is it
Yeah,
harder?
yeah,
She
unfortunately.
says with a grimace face.
Is it harder to control when that looser setup? Is that
Yeah,
part of why
yes,
you don't like it?
yes.
Yeah.
I've always ran like a safe, kind of setup, and which is probably why I haven't gotten any,
Okay.
wins.
Yeah.
Like, that's realistic.
Mixing it up?
You get so comfortable at a certain way your car is handling, and that's just not going to get you any faster. That's going to get you here.
That's a good analogy for life in general, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, men are typically right. I mean,
Oh, here we go. I wouldn't say all that.
Oh, Lord.
joking,
Is this for the Cowboys
joking,
comment? Is
joking.
Well, that's amazing. Do you still surf at all?
No, I gave that up.
It's been a long time since you've been on a board,
Yes,
huh?
it's been a long, long time. I think it kind of...
How long has it been?
20... I would say probably 2018.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it came at a time in my life where I was really struggling, so it's just not something I go back to.
Sure.
It's not I don't want to say safe place. It sounds, but yeah, it's not a safe place for me really.
Mentally being.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that.
Honestly, it kind of brings me back to that time where I wasn't.
Well, and that's
who I
why
needed
racing
to be.
is so great, because it started right as you were exiting high
Yes,
school.
I think so.
And this is the new brain, the new goals, the new motivations.
Yeah.
And it's fueled by this sport and maybe not those.
Yeah, I call it the successful version of Abby.
Sure. Well,
right?
I'm glad you had softball to help maneuver that transition, though.
That was my outlet. Softball was my outlet. Because obviously I was struggling and didn't know how to release a lot of the anger and confusion and things that I had from traumas growing up or just whatever I was going through. So I think that's why I was kind of mislabeled and misunderstood at that time. But then the racing, I was like, well, none of that matters. It blocks out. You get in the car, just you, and you get to go out there for 25 or so many laps, and you don't have to answer to anybody or anything. You're just you in the car, and it's a very it's a crazy feeling.
Do you think racing is more mental than the other sports that you competed in?
Yes. Because, we were having this conversation at the racetrack the other weekend. You can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this to the car. And you can go and do it, and it makes no difference. But mentally, you're like, oh, that made the biggest difference. And it just didn't. But you think it did. So.
I bet you have to have a short memory with stuff like that.
Yeah. My husband gets on me all the time. He's like, how'd the car feel? I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't really know. I don't know.
He's like, that's not helpful.
Right, no.
Well, you mentioned how mini stock, you're the only female driver. But one of the things that stands out to me is the U-Car, some of the lower levels, is, man, we get these reports from Andy from the Carteret County Speedway, and it's Abby Jolly, it's Carson Gray, Carson Gillikin, it's Summer Sullivan.
Yes.
That's right.
It's now I've noticed the Stansel sisters, these young girls, and it always I'm like, what is happening out at Carteret County Speedway?
Is that typical?
With all these female drivers?
I know when I started, it was just the Odom sisters running mini cups.
That's
That was
right.
it. So it was just them two, and then I came along, and I think since then it's just kind of snowballed and continued to grow.
Yeah.
Do you go to other tracks and see
That
a similar
kind of
level of participation from women?
Yeah, or
Okay.
less. I think Carteret's probably got one of
So
the
that was
larger.
Okay, there we go.
But we have, I think there's a lot of females at Bowman Gray. I will say that. Off the top of my head, I know Amber Lynn, very successful driver up there.
Okay.
And where's Bowman Gray?
It's in, I think, towards Raleigh.
Okay.
I'm sorry to
No,
all-
you're fine.
Yeah,
we're yeah.
yeah.
We're not
We
racing
don't
people.
know.
We're not racing
We don't
folk.
know.
I don't know. I rarely
You
leave
could have said
Jacksonville.
Georgia. Sure, yeah. No, just curious. You bring up a good point. Like, is that something that is just happening right here that's very popular, or is that something that you're seeing across the sport?
I think we are seeing a growth in it across the sport. I will say that. But in particular in this area, I guess you could say eastern coast over here, we're seeing a pretty large group around here getting into it. I don't know why that is. I couldn't tell you.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's an amazing thing to see. But I don't know.
I mean, it's to the point that a couple years ago they had an all-female race.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, what is happening over at the Carteret County Speedway? It's female empowerment over at Bobby Watson's.
Well, and I'm
Yes.
curious. Do you have you met any other couples who race? Or
Well,
do y'all have that on lock here?
yeah, I think we've kind of.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
we're
that's
the.
cool.
Well, actually, no. So Haley and Paul Williamson, Haley Brown,
Okay.
you might know her as
Okay.
that. Yeah. So they just got married too. So
Okay.
You're
they've
gonna
been
have
doing
to
it.
start branding yourselves now before they get to the racing couple. There's something there.
Yeah, you need like a couple name.
A sponsor would I think would be more.
Yeah.
I'd jump more to sponsor a couple than just an individual racer.
Zaccabi, is that a couple name?
Oh no!
I don't know. That's,
Abby Zach, that doesn't really go together.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing for
No,
that.
it's hard. They need better.
you need better names.
Right. We need some sort of pet
Some
name.
sort of
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
Brangelina, that kind of
something,
stuff.
The duo,
Yeah. We need a cool nickname. Somebody needs to get on that.
Someone's gonna
Yeah.
beat you to it. And you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
regret it.
Yeah, but I don't know though. I don't know. Okay, so me and him actually had this conversation. Like, do we want to combine our
Sure.
racing
Uh-huh.
and make it like, Reimer racing or
Oh,
what
that's
is
got a good ring to it.
2311, right?
sounds
but
good.
Well, that's already his,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I imagine
Yeah.
his is already Rhymer Racing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you
I
bring up
would
a
have
good
to
point
go
that
with
you
mine.
guys are on. You have your own like teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
You can be. I always have this conversation with people. You can be successful with your spouse, but not making your spouse your personality.
Sure.
Okay, that's real. You can each be successful in your own right, have your own spotlights and successes and things, but still do it together.
So not yet.
No, I don't think. I think
That's fair. That's fair.
Abby Jolly Racing. I started this without
No, I love
a man,
that. No,
right?
this is yours.
So
okay.
I think that's kind of where I draw my line. I started this and did it for me.
Yeah.
It's an individual sport.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we got a team.
I'm just thinking of sponsorship opportunities, but you're right. I mean, this is not just something that you are passionate about. It's a defining part of your personal journey,
Yes.
and keeping that name in there is awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes what people miss. They're like,
Sure.
oh, you love to do it and this and that, but it's just a hobby. I'm like, yes, but it's like you said, a reflection of my journey, and I'm not gonna ever let anybody take that from me in any sense. But I don't know. After this podcast, he might listen to it and be like, I'm not gonna help you anymore.
well, let me ask you this: you're 25. Racing's been a big part of your growth and your journey as a person. Even if it does, it may not be something that's in your life forever. But do you feel like you'll be racing for the next 5 or even 10 years?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I would do this. I
This is
think
it.
there was a man out there that was 70 years old, and he can come out and race with us sometimes. So I definitely plan on doing it. And like Travis Miller, he's ancient, so he's been doing. So
Sorry for listening.
he's got-
Still love that.
right, he's got 50 championships, hundreds of wins. So
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
can do it, I feel like I can do
So
it.
this might be just something you do the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I don't think
awesome.
I'm ever gonna get sometimes you'll get burnt out from running whole seasons and this and that,
right.
but I'm always gonna want to be there.
Yeah.
It's just kind of ingrained in me at this point.
Tell us about your day job.
So I work for one of the local
Right,
counties.
There you go. There you go.
I work for one of the local counties in the area.
You have a
yeah.
nice, stable government job.
Yes,
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 you do.
which is really all Jacksonville has to offer.
Sure.
Okay.
The important part is that 18-year-old you wasn't sure where life was headed.
No idea. I was waitressing at Circle Pizza.
Sure,
Like
sure.
I was making probably $50 a day
Yeah.
or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I really did not think I was going to be successful.
Yeah.
Even when I was 16, 17, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it. And I did.
Yeah.
I think it can take a long time to figure out what you want to do. And I changed career paths probably 10 times, in the last couple of years. But I figured out very quickly that I like a Monday through Friday. I like a good paying job so I can have my race cars and do my thing. But for me, being able to get this job and I can assist low income families has been really life-changing.
Yeah, so
for
part
sure.
of your work is again, department unmentioned here. But part of
Just in case.
your work is like you said, helping people that maybe not necessarily came from the same socioeconomic background as you, but something that you can empathize with and relate to.
Yes.
And that's a big part of.
Yeah.
You feel like you're giving back.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of times that's why I'm able to have because that's not an easy thing for people to go and ask for help. So a lot of times you're dealing with, tough situations, volatile, you have to be able to handle that. And I think a lot of times that's why they can kind of relate to me. And I'm able to give a level of understanding to the people that I help. And I just try and do that every day.
That's awesome.
What would the coaches and teachers back at Croatan think of they saw you today?
They'd probably be like, I did not think that girl was gonna make it. Obviously that was a tough time in my life, and
Yeah.
and obviously I
Well, it's
quit
fun
one
to prove
season.
that wrong when
Yeah.
you get a chance to.
Yeah, and I did have some people. I will say some people at Croatan really looked out for me.
Sure.
I had like an assistant coach, Jimmy, and he was amazing. He was always pulling me to the side, and I'd be at tears at practices and stuff because I just was struggling so much with whatever was going on outside of it. And people didn't understand that. They were like, oh, she's just acting out, or she's got an attitude problem, and this and that. But really, it was so much deeper than that. And I did have a few that would kind of pull me to the side and be like, you can tell me whatever you need to tell me, or come here and act like that. Do what you need to do.
Well, and more than proving maybe the doubt of others, or it's the doubt that maybe was inside yourself as well in your own head.
Yes.
Proving that wrong and overcoming that to where you are today, I'm sure, is just as important.
Yes, because really that's the biggest thing. Self-doubt can be so soul-crushing.
Yeah.
And people don't really get it, but it's like, no, that's, everything. So I'm very fortunate to have kind of come out of that fog, and a lot of people don't make it out. And I feel like I made it out.
Well, you've got such a great story. Congratulations on all your success, both on the track and off. And thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and, listening to my therapy session.
We'll go out and catch a race.
Yeah,
We'll get that second win before the end of the
Yes,
season.
we need it. We need it. So hopefully we can knock that championship out and I can beat up my husband some more.
Perfect.